music. Asterix, life has this quiet, mysterious way of bringing people together. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes moments, but when it finally happens, it feels like the universe pauses, just long enough for us to recognize something real. And standing here today, looking at you, feeling this connection, I can't help but think, finally, we are together. It's not just about arriving at the same place. It's about surviving the storms that tried to pull us apart. It's about every choice we made, every step we took, every moment we kept believing that somehow, someday our paths would cross again. And now that we're here, I want this moment to remind you of something powerful. Love, in all its quiet strength, always finds its way. No matter the distance, no matter the silence, no matter the fear, love endures. And today, we are proof of that. So let's breathe, let's be present, and let's honor this moment because finally, we are together. There are moments in life because finally, we are together. There are moments in life when everything becomes strangely quiet, as if the world itself is pausing, holding its breath, waiting for something meaningful to unfold. And today, as I stand here and feel this quiet warmth settle into my chest, I realize that this moment, this gentle, almost fragile moment, is one of those rare turning points. Because finally, after all the distances and silences and uncertainties, we are together. The simplicity of those words carries years of stories inside them. They carry hope, longing, waiting, believing, hurting, healing. They carry the weight of everything we went through and everything we refused to let break us. And I think that's the part that touches me the most. Music, not just that we're standing in the same place again, but that every moment that tried to pull us apart somehow ended up leading us right back here. Life has a strange way of doing that. It bends, it twists, it teaches in ways we don't always understand. Some days it feels generous, and other days it feels impossibly heavy. But somehow, through all those days, something inside us kept moving, kept reaching, kept believing that this connection wasn't finished yet. There were moments when the world felt unbearably loud, when confusion and worry wrapped themselves around me like shadows I couldn't shake off. Times when I wondered whether your heart still whispered my name in the quiet. Times when I questioned whether I was holding on to something that life had already let go of. But even in the absolute stillness of lonely nights, there was always this gentle pulse inside me, a quiet reminder that you were part of my story, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by something deeper. And that's what made the waiting meaningful. Not the certainty of knowing how things would end, but the quiet strength of knowing what I felt was real, even when doubt pressed heavy on my chest, even when I convinced myself to move on, even when I tried to quiet the memories that kept resurfacing at the most unexpected times. A song, a scent, a night sky, the softest breeze, everything had a way of bringing you back to me, like echoes that refuse to fade. It's strange how love works like that. It doesn't disappear just because time passes. It doesn't weaken just because life becomes complicated. Real love lingers, turns into music. Real love lingers. It stays in small places, in forgotten corners of the heart, and the quiet spaces between breaths. It waits, not desperately or loudly, but patiently, silently, with a strength that feels almost unshakable. And when the moment is right, when two hearts are ready to meet again, it rises to the surface with such clarity that it leaves you breathless. Standing here with you now, I feel that clarity like sunlight breaking through clouds. Everything feels softer, warmer, realer than it has in a long time. There's a piece in my chest that I didn't even know I was missing until this moment reminded me what it felt like to breathe without hesitation, to feel without fear, to trust without doubting every step. This is what it feels like when something finally falls into place after being scattered for so long. I spent so much time imagining what it would feel like if life ever brought us back into the same moment. I pictured it in countless different ways: dramatic, quiet, unexpected, overwhelming. But I never imagined it would feel like this, like the world has simply exhaled, like time has softened, like the weight I've been carrying has lifted itself without asking permission. What surprises me most is the calmness, the gentle certainty, the quiet beauty of simply knowing that this connection is still alive, still beating, still here, even during the moments when you felt far away, when silence stretched between us like miles of unspoken uncertainty. You were never a memory I tried to forget. You were a presence that stayed with me, even when I didn't understand why. You were the warmth in moments that felt cold. You were the soft ache that reminded me I had once known something rare. And you were the hope that maybe someday, somehow, life would allow our paths to touch again. There were days when that hope felt too heavy to carry, days when letting go felt easier than holding on. And yet, even when I told myself the story was over, something in my heart quietly disagreed. Something whispered, "Not yet." Something refused to close the door completely. And now, standing here with you, I finally understand why. Because this moment, this presence, this closeness, this gentle awakening was waiting for us. And we were learning, growing, strengthening ourselves for the moment we could meet again without break. In Jin, what amazes me is how natural it feels, how familiar, how comforting. It's like picking up a melody we both knew by heart, even after being apart for so long. There's no awkwardness, no confusion, no scrambling for the right words. There's just a quiet recognition, a feeling that we were meant to find our way back here, no matter how far we drifted. It will challenge us, test us, stretch us in ways we don't always expect. There will be storms and silences and moments of uncertainty, but the fact that we're here now, after everything, means something far deeper than any words could explain. It means that our connection wasn't fragile. It wasn't temporary. It wasn't temporary. It wasn't something that faded when life got hard. It was something that faded when life got hard. It was something that survived, something that endured, turns into music, something that grew roots even in the dark. Being with you again, I feel like I'm returning to a part of myself I didn't realize I had lost. You remind me of who I was, who I am, and who I can be. You remind me of the softness I pushed aside, the hope I tucked away, the dreams I told myself weren't meant for me anymore. You remind me that connection isn't something you force. It's something that simply happens when the heart feels safe enough to open again. Do you feel it? This quiet, steady warmth spreading between us. It isn't excitement. It isn't adrenaline. It's something deeper, something steadier. It's the feeling of two hearts recognizing each other after being apart for far too long. It's the feeling of finally breathing freely without holding anything back. It's the feeling of coming home after wandering through countless unfamiliar places. For so long, I thought being apart meant losing something precious forever. I thought distance was the same as disconnect. I thought silence meant the story was over. But now I see it differently. Being apart didn't. To break us, it shaped us. It taught us resilience, patience, understanding. It taught us what it means to miss someone deeply, but still move forward with the hope that life isn't finished writing the parts of the story we haven't lived yet. And the most beautiful part is that none of the emotions we once shared disappeared. They didn't fade. They didn't dissolve. They simply waited, quietly, until the moment we were ready to feel them again. And now, standing in this moment that feels almost too real to be true, I can feel all of it awakening again. The tenderness, the warmth, the gentle pull in my chest that tells me I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Finally, we are together. The words echo softly, not like a celebration, but like a celebration, but like a truth that has been waiting patiently in the background of our lives. Not rushed, not forced, just real. And as the world moves around us, with all its chaos and noise, there is something profoundly grounding about knowing that this moment exists, that we exist in it, and a connection we thought we lost was simply waiting to return with even more strength than before. I don't know where life will take us next. I don't know what challenges will come or what paths we'll have to walk. But I do know this. This moment is honest. This moment is alive. And this moment is proof that some connections are stronger than time, stronger than silence, stronger than silence, stronger than silence, stronger than distance. Being here with you now is not an ending. It's not a beginning. It, it's simply a continuation of something that has always been quietly unfolding between us, music, and what I feel now is not a rush to hold on tightly, but a peace in knowing that we're finally breathing in the same space again, with open hearts and open hands, letting the moment be exactly what it is: soft, gentle, meaningful, and profoundly real. There are moments in life that arrive so quietly that you almost miss the way they change everything. Moments that unfold not with fireworks or grand declarations, but with a warmth so soft that it slips into your heart before you even have time to understand it. Music. As I stand here now, feeling this gentle stillness in the space between us, I realize that this moment is one of those rare gifts life gives without warning. There's a sense of calm settling over me, like the world has finally stopped spinning so fast, like my heart has finally stopped spinning so fast, like my heart has finally found its place after wandering for far too long. And in that stillness, one truth rises above everything else. After all the time, all the distance, all the quiet longing we carried separately, finally we are together. These words feel like they've been waiting in the air for years. They've lived in the pauses between thoughts, in the echoes of memories that refuse to fade. and the echoes of memories that refused to fade, and the silent hopes we tried to hide even from ourselves. They carry the weight of everything we endured, everything we learned, everything we lost and found along the way. And as I say them now, they feel softer than I expected, not because they are small, but because they fit so naturally into the shape of this moment, as if this was always the place they were meant to be spoken. I think about the time we spent apart, the days and nights when the world moved forward, but something inside me stayed still, waiting for a piece of my life that felt unfinished. There were moments when I convinced myself that the story had ended, that life had taken us in different directions for good. But deep down, beneath all the layers of silence and acceptance, there was a truth that wouldn't go away. A quiet, steady pull that told me our connection wasn't something that could simply fade with distance. It didn't matter how much time passed or how much change we lived through. Some ties are too deeply woven into the heart to unravel. I didn't always understand that feeling. Sometimes it felt like longing. Sometimes it felt like hope. Sometimes it felt like a whisper buried under everything else I tried to focus on, but it never left. Even when I thought I had moved on, even when I tried to reshape my world without the idea of you in it, something in me still looked for traces of your presence in places you had never been. A song would play and I'd feel a familiar ache. A moment of happiness would rise, and part of me would wonder if you would have smiled at it, too. Even in my quietest victories, a small part of my heart wished you were there to witness them. That's how I knew this connection was real. Not because it was constant, but because it was constant, but because it was honest. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it didn't demand attention. It simply existed, like a steady current beneath the surface of everything else. And now that we're here again, now that I'm standing in front of you with this gentle warmth spreading through my chest, I understand why I never let go of it. Because this moment, this presence, this closeness, we were always meant to return to it. Being together now doesn't erase the time we spent apart. It doesn't pretend the silence wasn't difficult or the distance wasn't heavy. What it does is transform those experiences into something meaningful. Every lonely night becomes a reminder of how deeply we cared. Every quiet day becomes proof of how much we endured. Every moment of uncertainty becomes a step that led us to this breath we're sharing, this feeling growing steadily between us, this realization that something inside both of us refused to give up. There's something incredibly gentle about the way life brings people back together when the time is right. It music doesn't rush, it doesn't push, it waits for hearts to soften, for minds to clear, for wounds to heal just enough that the past no longer feels like a threat. And maybe that's what happened with us. Maybe we needed to grow in our own ways, to find our own strength, to understand our own hearts before we could stand here again with open hands instead of closed fists. Maybe the time apart wasn't a punishment or a mistake, it was preparation. I feel different now, and not just because we're together again, but because I understand the value of this moment in a way I couldn't have before. I appreciate the softness of your presence more deeply. I understand the gravity of your absence more clearly. I feel the weight of this connection with a maturity I didn't have then. It's not about clinging or craving. It's about recognizing that some people are meant to walk beside you in ways that leave an echo long after they step away. And sometimes when the world decides the chapter isn't finished, those people return to continue a story that never really ended. Do you feel it too? This quiet warmth that doesn't need to be explained, the way our hearts seem to recognize each other a little more gently this time. There's no rush in the way we're standing together now, no fear, no urgency, just presence, just breath, just the unmistakable sense that something real is unfolding again, slowly, patiently, beautifully. I used to wonder what it would feel like if we ever found our way back to each other. Imagined it in countless different ways, but I don't think I ever imagined it would feel like this. So calm, so grounded, so deeply safe. It's like the world is no longer demanding anything from me. It's simply allowing this moment to exist, allowing me to feel everything I tried so hard to bury. There is no confusion in me now, no hesitation, just gratitude that life gave us another chance. Music. You to stand in the same place with hearts that are stronger and more open than before. You've always had this subtle way of grounding me even when you were far away, a way of reminding me who I am, even when I lost track of myself, a way of bringing out a softness in me that I tried to hide from the world. And now that you're here again, that softness is resurfacing, not because I'm trying to show it to you, but because being near you makes it impossible to hold anything back. You don't demand anything from me. You don't ask me to be anything other than myself. And that is the kind of presence the heart remembers even when everything else tries to fade. The world teaches us to guard ourselves, to build walls, to toughen up. when things get difficult. And I tried that for a long time. I tried to bury the feelings that reminded me of you. I tried to close the doors that led back to memories of us. I tried to convince myself that what we had was just a moment in time, but some moments are too powerful to remain moments. They become pieces of who you are. They become reflections of the person you were when you felt most alive. They become reminders that love isn't something you walk away from. It's something that stays with you even when you're pretending it doesn't. Standing here now, I realize that the time apart didn't weaken what we had. It strengthened it. It challenged it. It tested it. It stripped it down to its most honest form. And what survived is something richer, deeper, more meaningful than anything we could have understood before. What survived is the truth that some hearts are connected in ways that don't disappear just because life gets complicated. I feel a sense of peace settling into me as I speak to you now. Not excitement, not nervousness, but a calm certainty that this moment is exactly where I'm meant to be. This connection feels familiar, but not I. In a repetitive way, it feels familiar like something rediscovered, something that had been waiting quietly for us to return to it, with clearer eyes and steadier hands. And the most beautiful part, nothing between us feels forced, nothing feels uncertain. Sounds. The noise turns into music. The space we're sharing now feels like it's breathing with us, expanding gently around the emotions that we don't need to speak out loud to understand. There's a softness in your presence that tells me everything I need to know, that you're here, that I'm here, that our hearts recognize each other even after everything else. And the world has shifted finally. We are together. These words don't come from longing anymore. They come from truth, from recognition, from a deep, unshakable sense that life has brought us back into the same moment for a reason. Not because it owed us anything, but because something between us was never finished. This moment isn't about promises or expectations. It isn't about trying to define the future or rewrite the past. It's about acknowledging the reality of what we feel right now. The warmth, the understanding, the calm, the closeness, the undeniable truth that some connections survive everything life throws at them, not because they are perfect, but because they are real. And standing here with you, breathing in the soft gravity of this moment, that truth is enough. It's more than enough. It's everything.